Good morning. So last time we got tests, well, last night, for more of a higher level decoder thing that's kind of working. And I'm thinking maybe we'll also have like a streaming interface. And this is all, jeez, I have to talk today. Might also have like a lower level streaming interface, and that could actually like feed into the list of values that you end up using. This has been on very, very limited low level lists, or like small chunks of lists though. I'm thinking maybe we need some higher level operations. So like I need to be able to work in an entity of blank. Which in a DXF Means we have section entities, oop. And then we also have our 0 that's points. So that's kind of like a top level structural thing. So I need to be able to get it to the entity section. I don't have to get to an individual entity. And then we do the kind of parsing that we were doing with like boon. And these might actually have to be some kind of list because we're going to have to take them in whatever order they come. So we have, well, I guess what would be effectively a section? We would have an entity. Huh. We do have an enum for this, but it's not specifically entity types. Now we're saying that we're parsing a boon out of this, which I'd almost have to see the the simplest thing we could do with the tools we have. Wait, what did I do? Oh, because we were parsing this to. Oh, we were using tag X, so we're using X as the low level thing. But you would still be 0. No, you're a special thing. You're an entity type. Wait, so entity type is a section? Zero. Is that accurate? So a section is an entity? There's a section for entities. String indicating the entity type. So I guess a section is an entity. Oh, okay. I guess we have to pull this in too. No, this is entity type. to have convenient access to, which means that any decoder is going to have to pull these in from parser. Maybe these things get moved into a common module. Still, you have to import the common module. Okay, so you're going to take an entity type. And we also have, do we do an alias for decoder? Oh, actually, we've got that. And then this one, I think. This is kind of like tag, just blah, your only value, but pretty much. So this is going to be a little bit, actually, I guess tag was the thing that searched. Oh, this has to be a list, doesn't it? So we're going to be a section. I think what we're going to end up with is like entities section and then a list of all of the things. Or just like the encode object where it's tuples of key value. And we say if you get a point, then do this. And if you get a line, then do this. That's kind of a one-of. Assuming we're at an entity boundary. Well, they'd have to have some way to check for next entry is a point, next entry is a line. And then do this. And I guess you could write entity as check that. Your loop would have to be set up to like kind of, well, if it was just a one of, well, no, it'd have to be a little bit special because I have to understand advancing entities. So maybe we could have entity as a helper, but really it's ultimately going to need to be in the context of some sort of multiple options. So if it's a top-level thing that is sort of directing traffic, then we would want to actually have that like return a tuple or something that would be used, or you just have the tuple that would be used in that. We could try to set up the fluid interface where you say we're going to do entity section, and then we're going to add an entity that it handles, and add an entity that it handles, and add an entity that it handles, and we kind of keep the list internally. But that doesn't, you can't go step by step like that and have at every step something that is itself a function of list to result. I guess if we just had if we could say one of eat this entity, one of eat that entity, one of just eat the entity, that'd require a little bit of care on the user side. So we're going to get a list. I don't necessarily want to go find a point, because we have to end up having to eat it. I just need a break. I'll be back in a minute. Oh, she has 2 knives. Wow. Oh. Oh, too slow. Yeah, can't take any of my stuff off. That was rude. It's like, this is the second time I've been killed by my mother. What is it with this? Oh. Power supply. Aww. That kind of ruins the moment a little bit. So it works, but the vehicle printer is really expensive.
Whoa, I'm falling, baby! Which one of you's which? Oh, that actually hurt.
Oops! you found a point where you could fall far enough. So it's getting closer. I guess I could do a double on that one. That would change that. But then I can't do anything with this one. Because anything I do there will double up that. Okay, we've got seeds, so these carrots need to get pulled. Oh my... Environs. Welcome back. So we can say that recognizes that kind of entity. But how do we communicate the this entity does this, and then we advance? Do we have a special thing for entities? That takes the type and decoder? All right. We can do this as a one-of type of thing, where we attempt to run all of them and they decide if they're going to go or not. Which, if we've got the kind up front, we could probably do that test relatively quickly. This would actually be saying if the head of the list is... It's a little bit like this, actually, without the recursion. Now, I can't actually match the outer thing. If I put a variable in here, it's going to try to match this. So we have to say if kind equals t. Wait, so code didn't get a list? Or was that implicit in... Wait, we're casing off list. Wait, I'm not applying you. Okay, because these were value decoders. That was sufficient. We're applying the decoder to V. So this would be to... I mean, really, actually, it is less if we're done with that thing now. We don't just want to take the first point. We want to do that, or we want to fail. So now we've actually got a new fail reason. This isn't even a not found. This is like, I don't know if it's mismatched, because this is potentially used in a testing fashion. Now in this case, we actually do know both types. It's an either or. Right, you don't need a parenthesis. Let's see, I pulled in code pair. Do I need to talk about individuals here? Oh, right, because we looked at values. I guess that would still be not an entity. Oh, that's indeed a single value parser. That's unfortunate. Okay, that passes. And I guess that this kind of test is roughly the same as a one-of type test. It would just be a specialized version of it. I'm debating if I want to do like something is, you're probably gonna have something like this, go into the entities, and that could be a one of entity point entity line. Or that could be and then the entities would be kind of running this running the match here. When we find an entity, oh, the other thing that goes along with this is when we're doing tag searching, and we have to stop here, which is going to be the same as this, basically. So that form lets entities go down its list and say, does this, we pull the value out once, whereas this has to case off of it every time. But we have immediate access to the value we're testing in. The other form pulls that value out once, but then we have to do a list iteration that also pulls out the I guess we like to do some sort of filter. Well, I mean, we're going to be doing some sort of does it parse test, or does it decode? If it's a one of, we're going to be doing a kind of does it decode test, where the decode happens to include a test to see if the leading element is that. And no matter what, we're going to try and advance the next entity. An operation we have not yet defined. Yeah, so you're going to have to scan to entity boundaries, which is going to involve doing this. I think I was kind of playing around with some of this stuff. Maybe not? No, not really. Oh, here's what I was map layout onto. Right, so and actually I didn't realize that we had these as defined types. So this is an even different strategy, which is we have an entities which goes through everything that matches that and skips over the rest. Which is actually suitable for this kind of thing, because if that's going to say, well, if it's this, do that. If it's this, do that, which means you have to be able to return things of the same type. Boons and edges are not going to be of the same type. So both of these suffer from the problem that you have to be able to return something that's all of the same type. Which means we actually want to do this as entities, which... Maybe there's still a place for entity. Maybe. Maybe. But really we want entities. Which possibly digs down all the way into the entities section for us. And says for each of those... I don't know if the decoder style list, because it actually says that it has to find a list as a structure. This says we have the entities, which kind of implies that, and then this is going to be equal to an array of those. This might have some similar structure. An entity type, we need a decoder, but we're going to get a list of A as the result. Which means we might need some kind of internal loop, because this actually has to manage the advancement now. So if we have an entity that matches, we do that. Else, we need to advance. So it is an entity. I might need to test for 0 something else, which is going to mean we've gotten to the end of our section. You also have to keep state, which means we might have to do something like the parser loop. Or you have a helper that keeps an accumulator. Else, I mean, this would sort of be a way to continue scanning forward. Would just pass by a lot of these things. Else, if it's a zero, some other zero, we've hit the end of, and I think that's the end of entities section. Because it's going to be nsec. This is something complicated, whatever it is. Viewport. Oh, yeah, there's a line. So viewport is a special kind of entity. Okay. So this is going to say we've hit something that's not an entity type. Oh, no, these are all going to be entity types. Okay, section and nsec is a... So we're specifically looking for nsec. Which means we have to stop the loop, which means we still have our accumulator for results here. I guess end of list could be the same thing. Yeah, so we have to have the internal version with accumulator. Which maybe that actually is this. And then entities itself. All right, so where does the accumulator go? You have to have the kind, you have to have the decoder. We have to have a list somewhere. I guess it's a little bit arbitrary. I guess putting it back here keeps that sort of decoder type signature of this spot. And you are going to be the list of A. This still has to eat the results. So when this hits the end is when this returns. Oh, this might actually need to burrow down to entities section too. Once I figure out how to do that. So this would actually just become entity step of kind decoder empty list that. So if this is right, we need to run this until it's done. And this is our results. And then run that again. And right now we're using this to skip over stuff. Now, if we were scanning for an entity, we'd be looking for 0 entity type something. So it kind of works. And everything else would just be, no, we still have to have this case, which is anything else. Oh, did I not? Oh, I didn't. I guess I do need all of these. I don't need all of them, though. All right, because this is now entity step. The left side is a result error A. Oh. So I have to map you out somehow. Is that an and then? Now, I guess this form of it would be easier to do if the list was the last argument. No, because we still have to do the list append. A to result error, and then needs the first argument to be Or do we like and then this and then apply the rest at the end? The first branch of the if expression. I guess it's pointing out the one that it considers in error. First branch is a list code pair. The type annotation on entity steps is the result. Which means we have to take this entire thing and apply it. Oh, by a previous pattern. Oh, I should do you first. Wait. Oh, pfft. Bugger off. Okay, that works in a very, very trivial case. I guess I could call this like single entity. That, however, is getting very, very long. Maybe a little bit weird, but it kind of tracks. You know, I guess I kind of care that I'm parsing the right entry here. And in the right order. Okay, so given the big old list of entities, we can yank out whichever we want. I guess this doesn't necessarily account like if you have two different types of points or two different types of parsers. I guess we could maybe end up developing a one-of type thing then. Now, what this doesn't do is actually get us down to the entities section. If there's other stuff. And this only has section entities, so we'd actually have to have like a section header to see that we got to the right thing. I wonder if I actually make like a, well, all right, so right now I'm currently parsing it into pre-section thing. If I continue to do that, then something like entities just has to go through the list of sections and pick the right one. But then I have a different decoder type because a list of sections is not the same as a list of values. Now that's a somewhat accurate representation of what we're dealing with. Because like you wouldn't want to throw a boon parser at the entire list. I guess it would give you something. It wouldn't be the right thing. Because it would eventually find matching values. That's actually going to be a little bit of a walk back on the parser. Now, maybe we can do both. Yeah, so right now the DXF parser is a loop over sections. It would be convenient efficiency-wise to be able to say, okay, I want to go to entities, and then I want to do all my entity stuff. Oh yeah, right now I stop at end section, don't I? Which means I would stop at the header. So entities needs to scan forward to entities. Although if I see what the entities, I would say, okay, we found point. Now we're going to do the rest of it on everything but that. So we actually throw out that header having identified it. I guess entity step could do that if entity was guaranteeing where the entity section. And that's an entire section parser. Well, I think that the list of values might be a little bit easier to reuse in different contexts. So if we have something that just goes code by code, or well, code pair by code pair, then one of the things we can do is turn it into a big O list. I mean, which kind of rewrite some of this stuff. So that means that all this high level stuff which is, I guess, just DFX, well, values intel. I mean, values until EOF, kind of. So what would that be? That would be kind of a stream parser that would just take an update function, which I guess verifying what a function receives, all we can do is build up a list. And you see, we called this stream. It's really values intel. So our actual stream Now, this is always going to be until end of file. Should we just call it stream for now? So it's going to be a little bit like this. I guess it's actually going to be a lot of bit like this. I could kind of even implement stream as on top of this. Entity type, is it just DOF? Now, I forget if that includes the terminator. No, it does not include the terminator. Would any of the other streams care about that? Maybe they wouldn't. Now, problem. This is simply returns a list code pair. I want this to actually kind of be what the toArray is built on. So you actually need to be of a function. And I think I'm going to have like a kind of a two list built up on this. So you're going to get a code and a value. I guess model would be the last. Yeah, message model. We never typed you. Huh. So it's message model. I guess you'll need the initial model. And maybe stream is the wrong thing for this. So the model in this case is going to be a list. And we're going to do code, I guess we're going to do code value. So we're going to need you as a helper. Group code. It's a value right now. You're going to be a list of. You are, in fact, going to be code pairs. Somewhat incidentally. Now, I guess this will end up doing, the simple version will not reverse. We'd have to provide a finalization operator to that, which could be done outside. I think we're going to need to have this a couple of times. All right, we can't just do values until now. We actually need to be kind of based on this, I guess. Or it's going to be pretty similar. So you get a function of group code to value to model. Which is our update function. Oh, and you're gonna have to have an initial value as well. Now, is that that's looking sort of like a fold? All right, function, initial value. Oh, wait, you were building up a list. Right, because we don't want, So you had, this is step. One of these is the final result. One of these is the intermediate state, which I guess is going to be the same as model here. And then one of these is going to be the intermediate model. And this is going to be the update function. Okay, so in this case, we're looking for something that was that value, regardless of the code. This is going to need the code. I guess this is going to say if entity type EOF, then we're done with our current model. Else, we need to, I guess we could actually process that. Expects 2 arguments, but it got 3 instead. Well, then that's incorrect. Right, because it has to return a model as well. This is stream. Body parser string problem model. The type annotation on streams that should be DXF parser list code pair. Yes, you are going to be a DXF parser of model. Okay, so what do we have next? We have single item. Now these are we're gonna have to allow to being reversed. Not gonna be an issue for single. Now, maybe a simple list dump is could be convenient to do here. I mean, we could do the result.map list.reverse. Make this a little bit convenient. Ah, now you see that was until section end. Oh, this does not include section. Whereas this is just kind of a stream dump. If we wanted to have something like a section, the section... Huh. Section and tail only gets 1. That's because we were testing terminator. This doesn't have a terminator. Awkward. Now, a thing we could define would be a stock. Let's see, this would be this would not have an update function, it would have a built-in update function. I have a built-in model. And what I call you? Yeah, cumulist. Going to be kind of the same thing. On that, and then so this would be a parser map to list.reverse. Okay, that's syntactically. And then I guess to test a list and reversal and all that stuff, we actually kind of have to do this. Okay. So that means our default mode of operation is we run the string to a list. Most of our parsers operate on a list. I wonder if I could do an alias for that. Well, I could certainly do the decoder alias. Now we're still going to have the type decoders, which are going to be values, which is a little awkward. Okay, so you don't deal with that much. And potentially all of this stuff is kind of dead. Ooh, yeah, finding a particular section. Because we need to look for a section start, and then we need to look for a... Well, I guess that's what, we unwrap 2 levels of the list? So would it be parser or decoder to say advance to such and such? Well, that means we could. All right, so you are you a value decoder? I almost want to leave those alone because I don't do. I guess I do maybe do some semi-complex. I pass them as arguments here and there, but not very often. And in fact, with tag, we kind of stopped using, which just leaves us with tag. So that one doesn't save you a lot. That saves you a little bit more. It's, I guess, the list code pair that almost becomes. We got you. This is where we're doing all the combinators off of. All right, so the alias. Nobody minds. Now I actually am taking the list here. So not spelling it out could be a little awkward. I did end a line, didn't I? I'd swear I hear my spinning drive ticking every time it does that. But I don't see why I would have anything on that disk. Oop, where'd we go? Can I need to change around block when I'm replacing those? Okay, you're a little bit special. Now you're taking values, so you're that thing. You're another function. This is one thing I'm still not sure about, because it is obscuring what's going on. There's another level of the length of the type signatures is kind of obscuring the fact that we're thinking this is the decoder element. Oops. Aha, okay, you're a little bit different. All right, decoder test. Okay, we never used it here. So entities, in fact, wants to ensure that the current start point is at a an entity boundary. Now, I can't test that. I mean, I can have the, like, advance to entities thing, and I could test that. So I just went through and did all of these. Is that going to end up with a slightly different signature? Because this actually just takes a list. So it could actually just operate on the list. Ooh. Does this fail if it doesn't find it? I guess you get an empty list and that just doesn't do anything. Oh, is this a code pair or is this just a value? I'm going to be using it only for zeros. Actually, you're only going to be using it for entity types, I think. I don't suppose we have a handy dandy function to, like, drop and tell. Not really. It's a value, so we should be able to match against that. Now, I guess I can put that in there. It's like it kind of doesn't matter, but that should only be that. If, and this is the list, if If it's anything else, well, we also have to consider empty list. So we have to consider this if it's a non-empty list. And this as done. So entities should be advanced to, well, entity type. No, this is an entity type though. This is a section with a code too. So this is So actually this is a code pair, I guess. I mean, technically this should be a section. Unless we do like advanced to section, advanced, no, it doesn't quite work. We actually need a pair of things. So this would actually be like advanced to section, maybe? And did I? No, you're a string. I actually didn't do that, and I'm starting to wonder if I should. But maybe did they just define 2 as a string? Yeah, it's just a name. So we want section start. And I guess technically we need to have at least 2 entries to be doing anything here, but this will work. So section start, I think, is fully decoded. And this is only going to do it in this case, so we can if we've matched that much, we can go ahead and throw both of them out. Okay. Right, because my test data didn't include the section header. Do I want to do an internal test method? I mean, I guess the internal test method is entity step. Which the only thing we have to do is provide the default value. Point. That's something else. And actually, I guess I've got enough stuff here that we could throw in some stuff for the whole thing. So you actually are 0 entity type section start. To name header. Now, we wouldn't have entity type points in any of these other sections. But we can throw in some garbage here. Now, I guess we haven't technically tested end of section. So, section end. Telling another section would start, but this is sufficient to test what we're trying to test. Oops. All right, so that takes care of the entity side of things. I don't know what other things I need. Oh, I need a yeah, I didn't do full. I didn't do full stuff or a full file here. Anything that goes from a string. Wait, now you're here, and then this is this stuff. I have to look at what my actual. Well, I've got lines there. I don't actually have a line parser yet. So what's our precedence here? Decode string and decode value. Right, because you couldn't just pass the list in here. And suddenly you can't click that anymore, whatever the heck it is. Okay, that's you. You couldn't just pass the value, so we had to have a function that does it. And we could have it there for the sake of having it there. We could reevaluate what a value is to alias it to list code pair. Oh, I didn't match list code pair here because it was list parser.code pair. This might still be leftover valid test. Yeah. All right. So this would be decode string. Takes a decoder, which I guess we would do boon. Actually, we don't have anything that does. Boon by itself does not, that's a singular. So if we wanted to define boons, it would be entities. Yeah, boon doesn't actually say what type it is. And I think there's only one point in there. I have the boon decoder already. No, it's just the string. Oh, I haven't done this yet. I guess I didn't want to type out all the things that we required. Okay. I guess I could use that. Now, I don't know if those are the actual coordinates. Not enough parentheses. Okay, you were a section. All right, so you want the decoder, then the string, and then a result. I guess the decoder would give that, but you'd also have the lists in there somewhere. Okay, so this is where, do I even have a parser run? I probably have, I don't know if my parser has a, and that could be awkward. Because usually what I like to do with these things is we import parser.advanced. But I can't have a thing called run then. Unless we just have you go back to parser. Actually, no, we've got a bunch of runs in parser test, right? Which there we just imported exposing run. So you want to use this as the to list on the string. That is going to give us a result of a parser error, which is the thing we're going to have to account for. And then, all right, so that is a list. Result list parser.advanced.deadend parser.context parser.problem. Okay, so it's not just a problem. It's a context, a problem, and a dead end. So really, parse error would be like all of that stuff. Result error, result error. Oh, right. So are you an and then? That's list boon versus boon. Okay, so that actually, I consider that would probably be a text test error. That's boons. And in fact, that was out of location. This might also give me some ideas about like getting variables out. Well, I mean, this is, see, so entities says we have this tag. So I guess it would be like, it would either be, what would it be? Would it be variables? Variable. All right, well, I can start writing a decoder. Now, this would still be layout information, but it's layout from a DXF instead of layout from a... Okay, so that's a placement, and this was all we had before. We didn't have lines. Right, so this is from a layout as a list placement, find the one for this particular ID. So this is actually good. Layout decode. This is XML decode. I guess I still have some unused stuff. But we're still not sure where it's going to go. All right, we had some test stuff in there from this, which I actually went ahead and parsed you into a structure, didn't I? Yes, that was probably a little bit much. So that's the XML decode.run. I'll actually be... No, we just have decode string. No. Okay, that's high level stuff. Layout. I could do subdirectories, so it's like decode.dxf, decode.xml. If I end up only using one of these, which is hopefully the case, then it's going to be back to decode, and this is kind of a temporary state. Yeah, I don't know if like xml.decode or decode.xml makes any more sense than the other. We're really just going to need to rename it for now. It's going to be kind of similar regardless. Okay, that was just very similar. Oh. And you see how it's throwing it all into decode for convenience. But if these names are going to collide, I can't do that. All right, so your decoder of a layout. A layout is a list here, which we need to build up at some point. But for now, this is just entities. Succeed placement. This is our map 2. Let's see, we just made that with. And We should kind of have this in our test. Accept your replacement. And point. You were a map 2. And you were just like a string before. You didn't have to do anything fancy. All right, so we've been calling this. We've got some DXF stuff already. Which these names will have to change. Oh no, expect DFX, got DXF. That's the top level parser. So we're going to switch you to a decoder. Which means you're actually look a lot more like receive XML probably. Receive XML, decoder. Ooh. XML.decode.decoder is the DXF.decode.decoder. Which means we have to pull that in. So HTTP error string. Now the error? I might not have a string error here. Okay, that was parser. Maybe decoders did have string errors? And a DXF. And this is parser dead ends to string. HTTP bad body is a string, which means I basically need to have a decoder error to string method in order to put this into bad body. Well, we've got other problems here. Oh, that's right. This is going to kind of stink. You know, I need to put those into a common type, don't I? So DXF parser. So like group code could be common code pair? Does that need to be common, or is that an artifact of the parser? Well, we don't necessarily deal with list of code pairs in the decoder. I don't even have a DXF module, do I? Of course, feels really tightly bound. Huh. Entity type is like one of the only things that I really use out of there. This is basically just a bunch of types. All right, so DXF Decode. And then since we're not done with that right now, maybe we should go back to this. All the errors. Value, entity type, group po, and you actually did need code pair. Because you were interacting with the parser. The decoder uses that. Because it says all the decoders are based on that, huh? Should you be in the common section? The stream interface to its, I guess the toList operator of parser returns that. But user level code wouldn't need to. I was looking at places where I'd have to use decoder, but then I would have to go pull in parser just for that. Now I guess we've got parser. No, decoder calls parser. It's fine. All right, DXF decode test. So we pulled in all of that stuff. Actually, you were value entity type, so you're just... Do we even use you? We don't use you. Meow. DXF parser test. Oh, I had the layout test. All right. Back to the app. Decode DXF. Oh, I guess I didn't have you yet. And then all the stuff we're doing specifically to parser in Hades Boonch. That was parser.entitytype. Well, that whole section goes away. Among other things. DXF.decode.decoder. All right, so you were an external library. This is not an external library. This is DXF.parser. Do I still use you? Parser.dxf we're not going to be using. That's actually going to be parser advanced, so no, we don't. Do you work as a decode? So you're actually going to end up being a layout. Receive DXF. Now, this whole toString thing is going to be a challenge. Oh, I just made you decode, didn't I? No, you're going to be decode DXF, right? XML.dec... Oh, no, it is. But I turned you into... Oh, maybe we have multiple options? Yeah. Can we still do that? Nope. All right. And then parser.dead ends to string, which is actually a, oh. Was that from, dead ends? You're a test. Yeah, we have to define this ourselves all the time. But really, that would get used by a decoder error to string. All right. Mismatch type. This is the annoying part about doing these custom. String.fromInt. That might work straight up. Oh, now you see, in this case, we could actually say that there's an actual and an expected. Now this requires an entities type toString is the problem. An entity type is a pretty big type. And then parse error is where we do parser dot dead ends to string on. I already did error. Okay, no. We've got bigger problems. As parser. Oh, no, this is back in boons. Although this is actually DXF Decode. And I don't even think we've got a server yet. Fetch error. Oh, code 1000 not found. Right. I don't allow for points that don't have that. Before we were using leaky list. I may have only tagged one of these test points. That was a useful error message. So we need like leaky entities. So on a case-by-case basis, we can't do one of because there's actually nothing to return. It would actually be, if we did a leaky version of it, it would actually be a different of the complex function here. So this could be considered a fault of the data file. Because right now my only filter is point. I might, in fact, want this to filter down to some kind of particular point. How would you indicate... I'm saying entities point. how would I indicate that we only want certain points to be in this group? I mean, I guess you do leaky and just only give the passing decoder rather than testing it just to let it fail. So we have entities. We have like leaky entities. I'm wondering if I should be replacing the point type with some other kind of like filtering function. Like once we have this condition, or find this condition, and then we expect everything to work. What do we call the strict and lax? Strict entities and lax entities? All entities? Well, still all entities that match. Versus some entities. Makes you wonder if there should be some way to accumulate the decoding errors. So I'm looking. So technically this is correct if there are points in there that are not tagged. That's kind of a data error. Now I guess that would eventually show up as unlocated boons, so might kind of work. Well, that would kind of mean just go fix my test data file. So maybe I can look at all the points. So we're almost to the point where we can say that this is going to work well enough to buy. Oh, did I actually move it? Instead of copying it? Oh, I probably moved everything to the CAD folder for source control purposes. All right, so on the points, we've got U, which has a property. We've got U, which doesn't have a property. Oh, and I actually probably need to do more name value style parsing, since that is what, well, at the DXF level it's here. I guess this is, I mean, if they're using this as name value, probably the other thing uses name value. Probably. Now, I guess I could put some actual values in here. All right, I did not actually locate anything out there. And then you're just gonna have a timer anyway. Okay. So it was in fact all of the points. We got 2025, looks like though that was a 5-point grid. I guess I kind of need to do a little bit of line testing to see if I can actually make that system work. So I'm just gonna have to get to layers a little bit. Okay, so source. And we don't want the examples thing. Actually, examples just needs to move into work. We're done with that now. Probably should have been in work to begin with. Oh, but this is stuff I don't check in. Well, it's easier to skip there too. And I've got the actual code now, so maybe I don't even need that. And that almost like more decode DXF points. Oh, this also changes the type of layout, which I guess the XML one just doesn't do anything. Because now layout is something else. What do we call these? Connections, edges, I still have to do some thinking about what this actual data structure looks like, because it might get kind of tricky. Now, I forget if I've done any tagging of the lines yet. Line, line, line. Would it still be 1,000 if it was? Ah, right. I put them into layers. We're not going to be able to actually parse that out right now. And there seem to be some lines that aren't in the layer. Maybe that means they default into something else, which means we'd need a kind of one of type thing. Well, I can try to get into that error. Also, we have to... That changes the type of this. This is a layout. So this is actually layout dot placements. And then all of our decoders, including all of our decoder tests. And we did the XML version. That was just a list. Now this has to be placements. There's still a list there. Oh, did that affect? Oh no, this was just commented out. The body of the layout definition, decoder list placement. Okay, so we still got something. This is saying in decode XML. Oh yes, that sheet, that would be correct. Because you don't do that right now. You say you're a decoder of layout. You're actually a decoder of placements. Are you a map 2 or you just succeed? Following that, I think this has to be succeed empty list. Okay, so that had some test stuff. Decode DXF has a similar problem. That was just entities. Succeed layout with what? Oh, you had a layout. Well, what can we say about that? Okay, where do we use that? This is an entity map, so I might need to put entity names on all of these. So that's DXF parser. DXF has to define that. Oh god. What? Parser. Let's try that again. The init definition. Oh, we probably had a layout in there. You don't have like an empty layout. Maybe we should. Okay, connections, placements equals. Okay, so there's some room in there for that. Oh no, you see, I did this as point, but it's 1020. I never, actually, well, we have the type returned. It's like points are going to be a common thing. So you would be point base. So you would be base, you would be base plus 10. I tested. Did I test you? I didn't test you. Oh, and explicitly exposing. Because it was being tested before. Okay, we still got our points. So okay, so ID point base a connection. Or what? This would be a layout thing. We have to decide if we have any tags in there, or if we need to add tags. Oh no, we did do that. Okay. So you're an A and a B. And right, we just did nothing there. Right, we didn't expose it. Okay. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, okay. I don't know why we have all the 0, 0s. I wonder if that's some demo mode garbage. Or if I just put some garbage in there messing around with stuff. What is up with the 0, 0s? I wonder if I could figure anything out from... So that was either me oopsing with the line tool, or you just kind of have some garbage in there. Okay. So we have some sort of object ID or parent ID. So type line 5, entity handle 48. Having a sort of generic model would be kind of nice in terms of just being able to look at things. Soft pointer handle. Arbitrary object handles. So are all the bad lines different? Are they all hundreds? Oh, no, 100 is this. Oh, okay, 326 is the handle. Was that like soft pointer owner handle or something? 100 ACB entry 8 is like layer name. I think layer 0 is like the default layer. Okay, layer name. Then line with coordinates, and yeah, we might have to do like a map post process. Of course, now I'm curious if those are actually visible things in the file. Uh, 2020 00. Oh, there's something there, isn't there? How? I've forgotten how to get it. Okay, that I can select. Is this a point? Okay, so that's something. How do I get like a list of I don't think blocks. Selection filter? Okay. I could see that being useful. Oh, we got a bunch of buttons here. Okay, layer list. Block list. There are some things in here. We don't have views. Oh, okay, there's the property. Does that mean it is line 4, or there are 4 lines? Line 1, line 1. Point 1. There's a point there. Okay, so that is the number of things. These are some lines. They apparently all have 0, 0. So we would just want to, I mean, it gave me a 0, 0, I guess. So those are just garbage for us. Okay. That gives us a set of lines that look, they might actually be something. And the way we were tagging these is by putting them in a layer. I might also attach properties, but the layer seems like it might be easier to change visual properties and see what's connected. Decode DXF. So layout, you need to have I mean, we're gonna treat it, it's like a layer, but we're gonna treat it as an ID. Not a trade ID though. This is just maybe we want to put some kind of wrapper around that. Okay, so connection. Which I think all of these are, well, everything's in a group might be 0 or in a with, what do we call it? I see we call it an ID again, so it's not just an ID. So this is, I guess we can just go ahead and call it layer. All right, so DXF, no, QCAD. So entity, I don't know if we care about entity, but we've got 8, formally is, well, we've got our DXF, which actually isn't parser, is gonna have, it is indeed a layer group code, which is going to give us a layer type as a string. And this is where we need to do, is this in the DXF decode that we had all our value decoders? Because I think I've got very, very few of these right now. Yeah, we've got X and Y in text. Oh, but that's going to take up the word layer, isn't it? Well, now let's say value parser. This is going to be a list parser. So this is going to be a, what are we doing? We're in tag. Tag a layer. That might be it. Basics created. Which we're just kind of messing around with how we make layers in there. Now, I might at some point want to remap it so that those are all together, but I'm not yet sure how we want to do the data representation, whether we just have all the lines and then we say, okay, well, we're going to highlight everything with this tag, or if we actually want those together as a group somehow, or as an object, so to speak. I guess ID isn't quite right here because they are going to be part of a group. They ought to be part of a group. Oh, now we only have one layer. So layer is going to be the connected things. I may also need attributes, which I suspect attributes should work. But let's pivot that name first. Oh, actually, we're not using the name yet. Okay. What would we call this? Link? I mean, I guess we know it's a line, so we know it's not the boon. It's attached to a boon. This isn't getting into how we actually use this stuff. Oh, this is going to be an optional property because, like, this line wouldn't be attached to something. All of these would, but... Now, I might still be able to figure some things out here based on associations to the actual prerequisite relationships. Now, you're a maybe. I don't know if I've dealt with maybes before. Okay, well, first of all, we have to move over our file again. I might want to just start editing that one. Okay, so that's point. This is in the lines. This is not surprising in how it worked. All right, so for point, we had a thing called ID. But ID said you have to work. We haven't really figured out how to do maybes yet. So that's from string, test ID, point with tag. I guess that's kind of a compound value thing. So this is maybe true. So I guess we'd want to say maybe ID. Be what we'd want to say. Nothing. Whether that's an easy thing to write, I don't know. So we were doing this, our value things, I'm getting tags. So there's maybe We could almost do it at the tag level of like a maybe tag. Having a higher level operator could be nice too. If this was just a top level operator, it would function as your decoder. No, the super trivial version of this is map. And that solves one of the cases. If we can type. Oh, we had the layout test. See, this might be the parser test. Yep, parser test. Oh, you're... I almost wonder if I should just do like an entities module so I can have entity dot layout. Right, that was a just. So this is actually a test failure for the nothing, which we expect. So I guess this is going to be kind of an and then. And then is a success. Actually, it looks a lot like this. Oh, actually, no, we have to continue this unmolested if it... What's a decoder of just? That's not going to work. All right, so now... We'll go back to layout, decode DXF. Okay, link nothing, link just that one. All right, so I think we've got all the bits we need. Now, versus diagrams, we don't sort of get automatic, well, I might want a better way to, because right now I'm doing tags, which is all invisible. I might want to give diagrams another go to see if I can get the any of the alignment stuff. Was it oh, I must have loaded this up somewhere. Interesting that it kept that. So the thing we had to try with this is kind of redoing all of these connection things with points. Now, also, the other problem with this is these things I'm going to have to replace with code. I just can't get good curves here. That was the other thing that was really frustrating. But we get automatic connections here, so I can just say, okay, it's the error from here to there. But I have to kind of build up this network myself. Do you have style text arrange? Okay, you can't have layers, which would be one way to tag things. So that could get you kind of the connected sets. So I think I'm still going to need dots to connect things. Outline is zoomed out view. Okay, shapes is all this. Okay, we're gonna have to look that up. Where we could look that up. Huh. Hide, show, close. Space separated list of words. Oh, so it's tags. Oh, so it's only one field. It's space separated. Okay. Another way to do that. I just have the actual layout problems. What are your import formats? Well, you don't export as DXF, so I don't expect an import from it. Hmm. I haven't tried doing this thing in CAD. I think I could do it. I presume I could do it. It's frustrating because it's so close. Rather, there are many nice things about just kind of being able to lay things out. These crooked lines bother me a little bit. We have alignment issues. Right, we can solve line connections with layers. We cannot, like, precisely connect lines to other lines. Now, I don't know what my demo runtime on this is. I think they give you a chance to save. So to do this for real, okay, so for one thing, is there a different type of object we could use? Oh, alignment. Okay, so that then I have to see what these look like, and we can change the text size to make it. And I actually want to take that and copy it and stuff. So that would be an easier to read way of getting the tags. I would have to change how I did that. I don't think I could get a visible property of the line. So we did the test with this. Oh, so these are QCAD custom things. There's not a standard for custom properties. Now, okay, these are only measurements. There's also this, which I had some trouble. As if I change the alignment. I don't know what this would turn out. Would this be points and lines? Would this actually show up as a different object? Oh. Okay, so that's showing you that that's... Okay, this is at some location. This was datum. Which is just a pointer line again. Pointing you at something else. I guess the question would be... We have to do that to align the arrow, right? Which I have to figure out how to... Wait. No, I'm back online. Free grid on entity. Oh, this is for the target point. Or can I like start in one mode? And then end in another? Okay. Doesn't necessarily change my angle. Oop, I right-clicked in there. Oh. Middle manual. Okay, restrict angle. Yeah, so the interesting about this one is actually like it's showing it relative to an angled line. I guess it's up to me to... Right, because these are the then consequent points. So I kind of have to go through... That was on a point. That's attached to it, but not at an angle. Oop. Doesn't even work. Doesn't even get an arrow. That's on a point. I guess I have to change the target mode of this, but that's still, yeah, arrow's still not there. Oh, that's relative to center. This is a distance. Yeah, so despite the default picture for this being like directly off of this line, it's kind of up to you to actually do that. I guess that's only to circles. Also only to circles. Oh, just a line. There's still a tool somewhere. Oh. And I left over there. All right, so we have how this shows up, which I think I might eventually want to replace these. Or I guess I could align this to the points and then actually use this instead of the point. What? Point tools, line tools. Okay, I don't know why I went there. I can move it. That's a good relative. Selection tools. Deselect layers. Modify. Oh, okay. That, I thought, yeah, your center is here. Oh. Interesting. I'm not sure that actually aligned, but... Huh, that one can just be moved. That became too big for the arrow. No, we just don't have an arrow anymore. Yeah, of course, this is a little bit different of a thing. All right, I'm curious what that looks like. Huh. Okay, so we have a text. Could be in a layer. It has a X, Y, Z. I guess that's a rotation. A text style. I don't know why it has another point. We have leaders. Dim style. Oh, are these the pointers I was messing around with? Because they would be like the following objects. The next object, yep, 0 is a leader, so those things are leaders, I guess. You had dim style. 1020. You have two 1020s. You don't have 10 and 11. Is that 76, 3 points, 1020, 1020, 30, 1020, 30? Ooh, that's an interesting little problem. But you seem to be just a series of points. You're not, really, well, what's this? No, that's the viewport. Yeah, so I don't see anything that links you. like an object reference or something. Now I guess there's this 5, 330, well, there's 100, 330. No, these we have these in the lines and everything else. So if text has a center, we could do similar to this where we have a more visible tag. We could go ahead and parse that. And let's see, it is text 10, 20, 30, and 1. So a placement then is not a point. Now, is this where we had to do text entity? Now we've got a text. No, this is a primary text. So I guess primary text is for things that's like it's a text object. Okay. Oh, but those are values. For entity types, we didn't have a text before, so we may have never added one. No, it doesn't say that we couldn't parse the value. Oh, it probably comes up in an unknown type though. Before I had a thing that went through all of the list and did all of the unknown types, and I don't have that anymore. I might need to get that back. Because I think it looks like this is a primary text entity. Yeah, we don't have, it's not, is it an entity? It's a text entity, not a primary text entity. But I think if I did text, we're going to have issues. Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, so I've got text entity. If I did a separate module, it would just be entity.text. You have the option to import one of them as a flat. But this is a problem I need to think about, I guess. Anyway, that lets our decode DXF. Oh, but we don't produce that type anywhere. So you would be a... Now this seems like this should be point entity and line entity. A text entity, so placement, so you're not an ID. Well, you are an ID and you aren't an ID. So this is like an ID from tag, which actually you're still using. And I guess you're just primary text. Eh, eh, eh. This does make it a little bit confused. So you're just a tag one primary text. We have to go back to DXF decode, and we're only kind of sparsely doing this. I'm still wondering if it's useful to actually have this much specificity. Like, do we really care if it's text or primary text when we're just pulling out a value? So now we're only going to get one value there. But it's going to be a lot easier to see in our diagram. Now, obviously this is not as well placed right now, because the other points were very, very exacting. So we kind of have to learn how to align that text. But alignment is the kind of things you'd expect CAD to be good at. It's just to figure out how to move things. I always have the fallback position of just going back to points. It's just I have to go edit the tags there, which makes it harder to keep track of what's going on. Now, I guess if I want to be really fancy, I could make the text the nice label, and then tag with the ID, but that makes it harder to look at it and see if we've got it spelled right. Only, I guess it would be nicer in terms of comparison to this. But I'd like to have this thing double printing from actual data. And then we have to figure out all unit scaling I just kind of picked an arbitrary place to put stuff in that within that CAD file, so I have to kind of figure out how I want to use that. Like, do we want these to be at grid points if we're doing a horizontal or vertical? Do we want to have like half stops in between at least? Another quick question. Can I actually get a reference? And can we even insert an image into here? Insert a bitmap. If I pulled in... Well, I think I've got it somewhere. I just haven't necessarily pulled it in. I've got boon icons. Active trait. There's screens where the boons were. Boon select symbols. That's a reference. I'm not actually... Oh, I forgot to look in game. To see which one they were using. No, these feel a little bit too washed out. Let's see, so this is find. I might eventually want these too. All right, so you were GUI screens, boon icons. And actually, I don't know that I want the animated ones, but it's kind of easier to move over that way. Oh. Pfft. Oh, am I placing copies of it? Well, that gives you a whole different scale that we're... Oh, okay, so those aren't necessarily super high res. It gives you a whole different basis for what kind of scale we should be working at. So we can insert this. We could then ignore it when parsing. Now, how is this going to show up in the file? Raster image def. What I can look at is public. This one is 104 kilobytes. This one is 105. So yes, we're not including the data. We are including a reference, raster image def. Image def. It doesn't seem like entities. Yeah, it's like a class. Yeah, there's image. Maybe that's referencing. Oh, is this like hex encoded path information? Well, I just want to know that it can exist and not be in our way. Oh, well, there's draw insert bitmap. I guess not having things default drag was good if you're trying to like precisely place things in a CAD context. There's probably some way to like center this. Some kind of line. Oh, move, copy, rotate, mirror, align reference points. Hit tolerance, No, it's not quite what we want. Information tools. Total length of selections, area. Oh, selection tool. Okay, yeah, selection edit. Okay, those are the dimension things. Projection, property painter, snap. Restrictions off. Okay, I didn't do what I thought. Thank you. Center of selection. Middle? Middle of what, though? Of course, I guess I'm already pretty close. Oop. Okay. Don't know what that did. Oh. Import, export, select. Might need some manual time too. Because surely there's a way to say take the center of this thing and put it at blah. That just seems like a thing you ought to be able to do. Maybe modify, move, grid. Oh, okay. That's kind of it. But it asked me to pick a point. Can I get a... Is this restricted to the image? I can kind of see how that's orthogonal to things, but I don't have a good sense of center here. Restrictions off. Center of selection. Aha. Align to center of grid. Okay. So that gives us kind of a baseline for that. Now. Okay, so that's all of that stuff. I guess we're gonna have to scale you up. Okay, just okay. Interesting that we have an interaction here. Okay, linked. That was less than I expected. I don't know why I need to select something there. I don't know. Start with 4? This is kind of a thing where just being able to feel it would be sort of nice. Although maybe I actually kind of want to start out redrawing things. So can we... So from there to there? Right, so this was garbage. Also, is there... Can I do that? And then, no, that's, So I filtered this down, but that still deleted the entire selection. Isn't one of these selection tools? Select all, select view. Okay, let's select the entire thing. Invert is select nothing. Deselect area, deselect polygon, deselect contour, select intersected entities, deselect layer. Yeah, so there's a leader in here somewhere. I don't know where. Okay, it's somewhere down here. But I don't know how to filter down to just that. Yeah, it's weird that you can, I guess that would allow you to change some of this stuff for it. Can I? Well, from selection would be all of them, right? All right, so now we take this. Well, it didn't really help, but we do this. Yeah, layer. Okay, so layer varies. Make current, toggle visibility, toggle lock. Does that mean we can only interact with the layer? No, doesn't mean that. Aha! Okay, and that actually puts you in the. Actually, you should have your own layer anyway. And then you go to there. Wasn't the paste along entity? I think that would require a multi-point line. But that puts them all here, doesn't it? Okay, so I need to see that. Does lock mean I can't select it? Okay. Oh, also, this is okay. So that's in that layer. We want this to be the lines. This was just for like stuff. I guess we should probably have one for you, and this stuff is going to be kind of in there. Or is this where we do... We create some points. Now, where do I set the number of points? Number of points. The number of points goes back to here. Or to the original drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's kind of okay. Maybe we want to treat that as one of those at the tip, but it's a little bit of an anomalous one, isn't it? Oh, yep. So it looks promising enough when you just need to go by that. Because I need the attribute export. The shapes along line is nice. The attribute export is probably essential. I did find how to use text. I think I might need that to tag some of the lines going in. All right, well, it's about lunchtime. This will probably get picked up Monday morning at this point. But for now, thanks for watching. Thanks for support for subscribers. I will see if I have anything to recommend. I don't know what's going on right now. So I'm usually on. This afternoon is going to be 1 Hour 1 Life. Sunday is probably going to be, well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be below zero. And then it'll be Monday morning, and I've been feeling like doing some coding to get this done in the evenings. Oh, you know what? Kenji Coder is somebody who I've seen playing around with CAD at a much higher level. I don't know exactly what they're doing with that. I do know that they're like doing like 3D printed parts to like assemble into tables and things. What he's working on at the exact moment, I don't know. But he's one of those savants who seems to be building up his own everything. If you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye and until next time.